Okay.
Welcome to this week's Whole Wheat Costa. I'm here with Kevin. Tonight on our beer table we have Lagunitas Hop Stupid, which is something I probably said on the podcast. Beers like this I'll never drink because when the first name is Hop, it just they try too hard.
I don't know what happened when I was at this beer store yesterday, because when I just opened this up, I was like, oh, that doesn't seem like something we would drink on the podcast at all. But for some reason yesterday, I thought it was a good idea. So I'm on the beeradvocate.com. So this has, I believe, 104 IBUs. So it's
International Beer Units.
real bitter.
All right.
Bitter as fuck.
Like I was drinking one last night at 35 IBUs.
Well, this is 3 times the IBUs. One description says taste bitter up front, bitter in the middle, and faintly bitter in the aftertaste. So
I've had a bunch of Lagunitas over the last couple of years, but not this one.
the actual description at the top of this from like the company was like pretty unintelligible, so I wasn't gonna read that. But it sounds like it's gonna be bitter. I'm trying it for the first time.
Brewed and bottled by the Lagunitas Brewing Company in Petaluma, California.
Yeah, it kind of tastes like the hang on one second, because I want to comment on this if it's what I think it is. Yeah, this is this bullshit that Snapchat does. Because Snapchat just popped up on my phone.
Oh, it's actually pretty flavorful.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty, like, if it was cold, it would taste, like, really good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like
60.
It's like below room temperature.
Yeah.
But now, but Facebook or Snapchat has popped up on my phone the thing of like, I don't know if I complained about it on here before, about like, if you don't look at it for a while, it's like, oh, these people posted stories. Like,
yeah.
I'll look when I want to look.
Yeah.
I don't need to intrude on my phone.
Instagram does the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, this person hasn't posted a while, and I don't really care.
Well, I feel like I'm on Instagram all the time, so it doesn't do it to me. But Snapchat started to do it because I'm not on Snapchat as much.
I deleted Snapchat.
Yeah, it's only trouble.
Yeah.
But yeah. So this beer kind of tastes like. I feel like the amount of bitterness, it's like. I feel like it's more like a cheaper craft. Well, I guess kind of what it was, like a cheaper craft beer, like when you drink like a really good version of a certain type of beer, and there's like not that weird aftertaste, versus like this has some of that weird aftertaste.
Well, here's what I thought about taking a couple sips of the beer so far. It's like I've had super hoppy beers, and it just tastes. They taste like hoppy. It's like when you get hot sauce.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look how spicy the hot sauce is, but there's no flavor. Well, this is like a hoppy beer.
Are you burping already?
Yeah.
Jeez, really?
This is this is a hoppy
man.
beer, but it's like pretty flavorful.
Yeah. So remember I was saying last week about how me and Kelly never have like a night out till like 2 in the morning or whatever?
Yeah.
I had one on Friday.
2 in the morning?
In the ER.
In the ER?
Yeah. We got home at almost exactly 2 in the morning.
Nice.
So the weirdest friggin' thing happened. So we had Sam Friday night, which we usually don't have in the Friday night out of our weekend, but with the snow earlier in the week, we had to switch things around a little bit. So I was driving back home.
Are you sniffling already? Must be the hops.
Must be the hops, yeah. I used a little bit of podcast enhancing stuff before, but yeah. So I dropped Sam off. I was debating whether to go to the gym or come home or whatever, and then I called Kelly after I dropped Sam off. She's like, Allie hurt her back. She wants you to come home and look at it, because it was like Kelly and Hayden and Brittany McFarland there. So she like wanted, obviously wanted me over them to look at it. So she was like, yeah, she wanted you to look at it.
Is something wrong with her penis? No, it's her back. I have no idea what you're doing.
But so then I'm like, okay, I'll come home. So I drive home, and like they really undersold it, because so I'm looking at her back, and they're like, oh yeah, she hit her back on the door. Like there's this like hard area, Brittany thought it was like maybe just she hit like a vein and it like swelled up or something. And I'm like feeling, I'm like, that's wood. And that's what it was. She was being dramatic. She like slammed into the door, like slid down it, and it must have been like a little splinter, like a little just nick in the door. So her shirt caught that and pulled a whole, sliver off the door, that then went up through her shirt, through her skin, and it was about the size of a toothpick,
Yeah.
but like a half-inch wide at the base.
Really?
So this giant like shard of wood.
Was she crying and bleeding, or?
She wasn't really bleeding because it was so cleanly just like lodged under her skin. Like it wasn't sticking out at all, which is part of the problem. It totally buried itself under her skin the way it broke off. So I was like, well, I mean, we have to go to the ER. Like, you know, it wasn't just a splinter where we could get it out at home. And in my head too, I'm thinking like, well, you know, they'll numb her up and she won't feel anything and they'll get it out pretty easily. Like we could maybe get it out at home, but it's gonna be like real torture, you know, because you'd have to like stick something in that hole and grab it and pull it back out.
But it also you could have left pieces, get an infection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we go to the ER. So I went to CHOP, everyone was super nice when we got there. They like brought us back pretty quickly. They got us in a room. They had these like child life specialists who were awesome because they like came in and explained like in like an age appropriate level like what's gonna happen and stuff. So that's all cool.
Oh, that's real cool.
Procedurally, I thought they sucked. I like really wanted to be like, can I just do it? Because like they like had a lot of trouble getting the splinter out.
Really?
And it was like totally not what I thought because, you know, because when I had my like skin cancer on the back, I said to Allie, I was like, oh, when I had that, like, they were cutting my back for like an hour, but they like numbed me up. I didn't feel anything. Like that's what they're gonna do to you. They're gonna numb you up. You're not gonna feel anything.
Right.
So they put that like Emla cream on it to like numb the skin. So in my head I'm thinking like, oh, okay, well they're gonna use that and then put the lidocaine needles in so she doesn't feel anything. But they never did the injectable lidocaine. So underneath where the fucking splinter was like not numb.
So that would have to hurt.
Yeah, and they used something like way too big to like, in my opinion anyway, to get in the hole and pull it out. The only thing I could think is like maybe they didn't want to use something too small and risk like cracking the piece of wood. But I mean, it didn't take a ton of force to pull it out. They just didn't get a good grasp on it. But like, they used tweezers that were like probably like a 1/4 inch wide through like a tiny little pinhole that like the wood went through. So.
Oh, they didn't like cut it open at all more? Or?
No, they were trying not to, but I just like in my head I could picture so many instruments that were better suited for this purpose than like the ones they were using. I was kind of mad because I don't know, like, I don't work in the OR, so I don't know like the technical names for them. Or else I'd have been like, oh, you need this thing. Like, why don't you have this thing?
Oh, they would have fucking hated you if
yeah.
they did that. It's like when you go to the mechanic, like, I tried this and I tried this. It's like, well, why didn't you just bring it here in the first place?
Yeah. So I mean, it didn't go on for and honestly, it was only like maybe 5 minutes they were trying to get it out, but I just felt like they did it like in a crazy way. It was like if it went on a lot longer, I would have had to say them because I was like real antsy, but then they gave her like, but then the other thing while we were there, Kelly kept telling like everyone in the walk room like, oh, maybe we thought it was a vein, and I was like, dude, Brady's had the vein idea. The only way in life you would see like a really hard vein like that is if you were talking to someone who like did real bad stuff in life that they shouldn't have been doing, putting stuff in their veins.
Right.
So like, stop saying that. Like, you make us sound like fucking junkies. Like, stop telling everyone we thought it was a vein. Right. That sounds real bad. I don't know.
Yeah, people were their veins collapsed because they've been shooting heroin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, it didn't look at all like that anyway.
You should. Like, to know about the vein thing,
yeah.
You must have known a junkie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so yeah. So
like a 7-year-old's vein isn't collapsing.
Yes. So I don't know. But like, they got it out. She was fine right afterwards. The driving home was pretty funny because the one thing they did give her is they gave her intranasal fentanyl. So we're driving back with hi Allie. So she's like just saying all this stuff in the backseat. She's like, there's a lot of pokey things in the world.
Yeah.
You never really think about it till they poke you. And I'm like, yeah. Well, like, yeah, you're right. And she's like, I must be the bravest kid in the world. She's like, I'm definitely the bravest person in this family, though. And we're like, yeah, you're brave.
She's the wimpiest person I've ever met.
But it was really funny.
Well, for Sam's birthday, I told I was lifting her up to put those decorations up.
Yeah.
And like, she's so small, my hands like almost touch around her waist.
Yeah.
But to like lift her up because she's so squirmy,
Yeah.
I like had to like grab her like. And I told Kelly, I go, hey, she's gonna have a whole bunch of bruises around
Yeah.
her waist, so don't be mad at me. And she's like, that's fine.
Yeah.
She's like, it happens. No one can grab her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so anyways, that was our 2 in the morning. So then, I mean, I was supposed to work the next day. I really didn't want to. So I was like talking to them the whole time I was there. Like, I'll see what time I leave here. So I'm not going in. So then I got other stuff done Saturday. But then of course I moped about it because I was like, I lost all that money. Should have gone to work on the 2 hours of sleep. So that happened, and then sorry.
For Dilaudid, did I ever tell you what happened when I was on like 3 shots of Dilaudid?
No.
Well, my brother's ex-wife was the nurse at the hospital when I broke my ankle. So she's like, just get him more Dilaudid, and the doctor's like, okay. So my brother picks me up and we're driving home, and I have like this like boot, like it's like for 2 weeks it was the worst pain of my life, because they thought I had Cushing's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was terrible pain. So they couldn't do surgery or anything. So they like 3 shots of Dilaudid. So we went to, and I was like super thirsty, like drank a gallon of tea, and then like another like one of the big Wendy's gallons size things, and then I drank like a second one, and I'm like, oh, I'm real thirsty. I gotta pee too. And like I get out of the car, and I was like, what are you doing? You still don't? I was like, it doesn't hurt. They fixed it. He's like, they didn't fix it. I was like, trust me, they fixed it. Like, and I had forgotten like how much pain I was in.
Yeah. That's what makes you cringe, just thinking about like a broken bone like that or something.
Yeah. Not only did I not have pain, I forgot how much pain I was in. I was like, yeah, those doctors were great. They were terrible.
Just picture you driving home. I'm just the bravest guy ever.
Pretty much. No, I would have crashed and died if I drove home.
Yeah. And then we went to christening on Sunday, which it was real South Philly christening because, well, first off it was pretty nice. It was up on like 30th Street, South Philly, like in the ghetto.
Oh, nice.
And so the priest that did the baptism apparently mostly does out, like he's actually a mission priest. He mostly does outreach with like drug addicts and stuff. So during the christening, he talked about prostituting, as he said.
Really?
Prostituting.
Nice.
So
classy.
Yeah. So he was like telling a story about somebody that like lost their memory and they were like an important person, and then, but then somebody remembered them, but like in the meantime when they lost their memory they were homeless and prostituting and stuff. I mean, I don't know why they had to be prostituting. You could have just said like, oh, they were homeless.
They were homeless.
Yeah.
They were homeless and prostituting. They were eating fingernails, like real descriptive.
He was way too descriptive than he needed to be at a christening.
Yeah, she was shaving her left leg and not her right. It was crazy.
Giving gummies and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah.
My sister. I mean, this lady.
But like his point was that we're not our sins, that like we're like important and like to God or whatever. But it's real circular logic.
You don't want to be tooting.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought that was pretty funny. It was like pretty nice though, because they actually did it in the back of the church. So instead of being up on the altar, they had like the baptismal font in the back of the church, and everyone just stood in a circle around it, which I thought was pretty cool. It was like way more personal, like everyone sitting in pews and stuff. So like that was cool. It was nice. He is like a pretty cool guy. Even though I just imagine he talks about prostituting and like it's like a funeral, and they're like every funeral talks about prostituting.
Yeah. I can tell by his feet he wasn't tooting.
Yeah. So that was cool, and then it was also my dad's birthday. So in my head, I'm thinking like, oh, okay, it's christening. Then we're gonna go to christening parties at like 2 o'clock. I'm gonna go over there for the Eagles game at like 4:30. It's gonna be great. And then at like 4:15, and it's just like at like a bar basically. Like it was
your dad's birthday?
No, the christening party.
Oh, the christening party.
It was like upstairs in this bar, which is pretty nice. So we're there for like a couple hours, and it's like 4:15. I'm like, oh, we should think about wrapping up to go watch the game and stuff. And Kelly's like, this party's till 6 o'clock. I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, we already ate food, we already ate cake. There's nothing left to do here.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand. I don't understand what we would do for 2 more hours. But then once the game started, everybody else left, so then we were out.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, I had to make a big deal on my dad's birthday. I said to him, I was like, yeah, because now that like I'm a dad, I realize no one gives a shit about our birthday. So, so I had to make sure I went over there.
Yeah. Did you do anything?
Nah, but I feel like we're always the one that gets the cake for everybody's birthday. So like we stopped at Shopper, we got a cake and stuff. That was cool. So like, my sister and her husband were there. So like as soon as we got there, we sang and stuff. So that was pretty nice. But oh, we got
Underwear.
So because of
Okay.
because of certain lifestyle choices he made recently, we got him a Bob Marley T-shirt. I thought it was funny.
So he's still in that weed game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to say. I don't want to spell it out, but yeah.
Yeah.
So so he's got a Bob Marley shirt now, so that's good.
Yeah. Is it legal in PA yet, or
I
just
mean,
medical?
I mean, essentially, I don't know. I actually looked up recently because I was a question about medical marijuana. So I was looking up like if I could prescribe it, and apparently not. Apparently you have to be registered with the state still. Like you have to go through a special process to be able to prescribe it.
So I want to get. I've been working on trying to get medical. Like I haven't tried it in like 2 years because I was denied 3 times because all the doctors are like, well, I don't want to be known as a doctor that does that,
Yeah.
so I don't. But I found a couple, and I'm like too embarrassed to call them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have this like thing like, oh, maybe they just think I want to get high,
Yeah.
but I don't. I have medical like reasons for it, but then I got to go through all that. Like I got to get re-diagnosed and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So, that's going to be expensive, and then it's actually like pretty expensive. And then people were like, "Well, you're going to lose your job because you could drive forklifts." And I'm like, I don't really want that job anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't. It's real tough because I don't think because it is medical they can't discriminate.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's such a gray. Like, it's so risky. It's such a gray area. Like there's that John Oliver show was the last week tonight or whatever did an episode about that and all the gray area of like people that had like legally had marijuana but still got in trouble for it, or like failed a drug test at work and they're like, we don't care that you're prescribed illegally. Which I mean I guess you could fight that, but like do you want to go through all that? Or like some states where like it's legal to prescribe it, but then there's no dispensaries and you can't transport it across state lines, so there's no way to get it. It like just crazy stuff like that. I don't know, but yeah, it was mostly like around my area. Because I looked up the list online. It was mostly like pain management doctors, oncology doctors. There was one like old primary doctor who like dispenses medical marijuana. Apparently, that like really surprised me. He's like a real old guy.
Maybe he was around when it wasn't illegal.
Maybe, I don't know.
That's a possibility.
But I don't know if we could really justify it in urology. I don't know. I guess we do treat cancer patients, but not.
Yeah.
Once they're that bad, they move on to the oncology folks. So.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's all silly.
Yeah.
Something that like people like try to argue like, oh, all drugs are natural. No, you have to like process it a ton.
Yeah. Not all drugs are natural.
Yeah. Like weed is pretty natural. Like you just plant it, like you plant it in like a pot in your backyard.
Yeah.
And you'll be okay.
I don't think there's LSD plants around everywhere.
Yeah. Well, people are like, well, cocaine's from natural sources. Yeah, but once you add ether to it,
it's heavily processed.
Yeah. Most all of the drugs are like heavily processed.
Yeah. But
even alcohol is super processed.
So the thing I thought was interesting about that was apparently, and I feel like we might have weirdly talked about this once before on like an early podcast, because I feel like I might have learned this fact around then, but like rubbing alcohol is really cheap like alcohol, but the government adds basically poison to it so that you can't drink it.
Right. Yeah. We've talked about that.
Yeah, that's like a crazy fact.
You can distill it though.
Okay.
Yeah, there was the first real job I had. There was a guy, they were telling me about how he was an alcoholic. He would buy Listerine, which is actually super expensive.
Yeah, Listerine's not a good way to go.
Yeah, but he would distill the alcohol out of that because it's like 40% alcohol or 20%. But he would also have like rubbing alcohol, and he would distill that with like the Listerine. Then he would pour the distilled Listerine and rubbing alcohol mixture into the empty Listerine bottle, and he would just drink it throughout the entire day.
Hmm.
Excuse me. And he was such a bad alcoholic that he just wouldn't wait anymore, and he would just drink rubbing alcohol at work.
Okay.
And he would get like sick.
Yeah, yeah.
And one day, like he like puked up a bunch of blood.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And the doctor's like, "Are you drinking rubbing alcohol?" Like it wasn't like that was like their first question. He's like, "Yes." And they're like, "Oh my god."
Yeah.
And he died like a couple weeks later.
I'm sure. That made me think of my YouTube thing for the moment, and I realized something. So
I have a YouTube thing too.
So my like weird obsessions are all YouTube based because what happens is because I realized this is the Michael Bay stuff because I watched all these Michael Bay videos a couple of weeks ago, and
Which we talked about.
Yeah, which we talked about, but when I realized like what happens is, and I thought it was just me that I kept getting these weird obsessions, but it's YouTube doing it because you watch like one video you find interesting, and then maybe you watch like the follow-up video to it. And then YouTube's like, oh, this guy's interested in Michael Bay. Let's show him all the fucking Michael Bay videos on YouTube. And then you watch 20 straight Michael Bay videos.
Yeah.
And that's what YouTube does to you. Like I played one Dungeons and Dragons game in my entire life. And I spent like a week watching Dungeons and Dragons videos a few weeks back. Because there was one that was like a particular topic that was like semi-related that I thought was interesting. And YouTube was like, oh, this guy fucking loves Dungeons and Dragons. and I just kept watching the videos.
Yeah, you're right. That's how I get into it. But Dungeons and Dragons, like the lore and everything, is awesome.
Yeah, well, that's what. Well, I wasn't even watching that. I was watching this guy that's like a DM talk about like specific like edge cases about DMing in Dungeons and Dragons 4E or whatever. Like I don't know, like just shit that didn't apply in any way to my life. So for like a week straight. I think like some of the guys' videos are still coming up now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been watching this guy, Forgotten Weapons.
Mm-hmm.
So, have you seen that guy?
I think you were talking about me.
Yeah, basically Gun Jesus.
Okay.
Yeah, and he talks about forgotten weapons or like weapons that have been used in war, like older weapons or like different versions of like the more popular weapon or just weapons in general.
Yeah, there's some weird things out there.
Yeah,
that are made.
And then he like I watched a video for 20 minutes about the the Barrett 50 cal sniper rifle. It's not a sniper rifle. Like he's like it's not. It's an anti-material gun. So like he explains it and then he disassembles the guns.
Yeah.
And like he shows you all how it works and like and it's like it's crazy. Like some of the stuff he shows is just crazy. Then he tells the history of the gun and like guns that are like it and then the different models. So there was I watched one on the British submachine guns, the one of the German guns during World War II about like how you can see how the guns like in like 1938 are really good quality, and then like by 1944 it's like all stamped metal and shit like that. So like I'm not a gun nut, but watching these videos it's like a part of history.
You right out voted for Trump and shit. That's the problem with some of the really niche things. Like so for me with all the Dungeons and Dragons stuff recently is that like, you know, when somebody that really knows it explains it, like it's like that's really interesting, but like you couldn't re-explain it because like you don't understand the nuance as well. But I feel like shit, what was I gonna say? But no, I would say I feel like there's a difference between like so that sounds like a guy that like really detailed knows like the stuff he's talking about. And that's what I find the most interesting.
Well, he's a gun. I think he's a gun auctioneer.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what I mean. He's a guy that really knows what he's talking about. But even guys that like just summarize things well, I think are sometimes interesting. Like there's this guy that does the exploring series, and he takes like one topic that he covers for like a couple months. So like I'm sure he dives like pretty deep into that topic, but like he's really just like covering the surface elements of that topic. He did like Celtic mythology recently. He did Lovecraft. He's doing the SCP Foundation right now. You know, and like none of his stuff is anything groundbreaking. You know, none of it's like you're not going to find new theories. You're not going to find like, you know, really like hidden information about any of these topics. Like I'm sure like with that gun guy, like there's stuff that like he has extrapolated from his study of guns that like, you know, is stuff that he's discovered, for lack of a better word, or
Right.
like stuff that he's really put the whole picture together more than anyone else ever has. But like guys like the Exploring Series guy really are just giving you a surface level, like something you're mildly interested in but don't know a lot about. Even that's like useful, Like when I first got into Lovecraft, like I watched a lot of his stuff and I thought it was pretty interesting. And then like reading the books, then it was like, oh yeah, no, that's the thing the guy talked about. Like it made it a little more exciting. Or like the SCP Foundation stuff, he's doing like a pretty surface level view of that, but like it's pretty interesting just to hear, it's just a good presentation of the material, but it's not like anything you couldn't go read yourself, basically.
What's it called? Have you seen the show on Netflix called The Last Kingdom?
No, is that the one that just came out recently?
No, well, they have a third season.
Okay.
Uh,
That's what I'm thinking about.
Is
that Chris Pine in it?
No, that's like The Last King or the
okay.
Last, yeah.
That looks pretty good.
I don't think it's around the same era, but it's the same sort of thing.
What's that Man on the High Tower one or whatever?
Man in the High Tower?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that looks good too. All these shows look good.
I watched the first season. The first season was pretty good. Have you seen it?
No, I just keep seeing things for it.
It's about Germany and Japan won the war.
Yeah.
So like from the Rockies to the East Coast is Germany.
Yeah.
And then from like the Rockies, like it's a non-fighting zone.
Okay.
Is Japan.
Okay.
And like it's like the Man in the High Tower. So anyway, but the Last Kingdom is about Alfred the Great, and it's based off like stories written. And this guy named,
is he like one of the like Viking sort of guys?
No,
or?
he's like the first or second Saxon king.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's about like that, and like the main character is this guy Uhtred of Babenberg, which is like northern England.
That's that time period there, right? Isn't it like 800s, 900s? That time period? Okay.
Yep. And so we're watching about that, and like they're all based off like everybody's like based off of like real characters, like and or like real events, but like there's people that shouldn't have met, so they take liberties with history just to make it more interesting. And like, but basically Uhtred is basically the Littlefinger of that world, because he fucking time travels. He just always shows up at the right time.
He does that Littlefinger jetpack.
Yeah. So it's like he shows up like. He like goes across the entire country like in weeks. Like they did have a time jump, and like they do kind of like they don't tell you where it is, but like they'll show different seasons throughout like an episode. You're like, wait a second, wasn't it just spring and it's like the falls are so like you have to like really pay attention. But I watched that, and then I start like looking up like these characters, like these real people, and like learning about them.
Yeah.
And then it's like sort of like the same thing with YouTube that you do, but I've been doing like my own like research, reading about these characters, and like a lot of them is like really interesting, like the shit they did.
Yeah. So right now he was like, oh, this guy likes Dark Ages kings.
Yeah. So I think it's actually right before the Dark Ages.
Okay.
And then like there was a couple more kings after him, and then the Vikings. Or like the Danes, they take over for a little while, and that's like the beginning of the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
And then like they destroy like all like the English shit, and then like out of the Middle Ages is like a couple centuries later, where they don't learn anything because like the Vikings and Horde shit they took over like the Eastern Roman Empire, and they destroyed like all the technology and shit.
Bring in the Vikings.
Yeah.
Unless you're listening to this in the Viking country, and then go you guys.
Or you are Torben.
Yeah.
Who's a Viking?
Torben listen?
No, probably not.
Should have Torben on board.
Yeah.
Should have Torben on one day.
What's it called? Yeah. So, the Eastern Roman Empire is the one that like died out around like 1700 or 700 or something.
Yeah, that was the later one.
Yeah. And then the Western one was like up until like 15 or 1600.
No, the Western one when it was first.
Oh, the Western.
Rome,
the Western one's the one we all know about.
Rome fell in like the 500s.
Right.
I'm sorry, the 5th century, like 450-ish.
Yeah, and then the Eastern Roman Empire.
Yeah, the Eastern Roman Empire lasted a few hundred more years.
Yeah.
They like briefly reconquered Rome like a couple hundred years later, but it was like fell pretty quickly.
Right. Yeah.
Friggin'
yeah, and then like
Belisarius.
after that like completely fell to like the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
Dark Ages.
Yeah, but yeah, so my current YouTube thing is I'm watching this gaming historian. So I'm filled with all these old Nintendo stories that are pretty awesome. The best one was he had this 20-minute video about the development of the Super Mario Brothers movie. It's like rated as one of the worst movies of all time.
Dude, actually, I enjoy watching that movie because it's so bad.
But if you watch the whole week cost a minute, I mean, probably like a week ago by the time this comes out. I talked about the fact that Tom Hanks wanted to play Mario, and Nintendo was like, "Who the fuck's Tom Hanks?"
Mario was
he was a British actor.
Yeah.
I can't think. I think it's like H name. I can't remember.
Bob Hopkins.
Yeah, that's it.
Bob Hopkins. And Luigi is John Leguizamo.
John Leguizamo.
And Bowser is Dennis Hopper.
Yes. But not only so, also who's the guy that played Rain
Man? Tom Cruise.
No.
Dustin Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman was the first guy that wanted to be Mario.
Really?
And they said, "Nah, I don't think you're right." So Dustin Hoffman would have been Mario.
Yeah. I feel like even though it wasn't out, that Mario movie, the Super Mario Brothers, they read the wiki page of the story of the Super Mario Brothers and like, let's make a movie.
What happened was it's pretty interesting. It was like one of these things where like too many people were involved because Nintendo licensed the rights to like a small film studio because that film studio promised them like creative control, which meant that you had like the directors and the producers and the film studio and Nintendo all weighing on every decision. So apparently they got a guy to write it at first who was a good writer and who basically, and that's exactly how he played Mario for like a day straight and then he wrote a script. And they showed that script to the actors and the actors were like, that's a pretty good script, and that's why all these guys signed on.
Really?
And then that was like, but that script was like, by the time they filmed, they'd rewritten the script like 10 times. Like completely rewritten the script. Like it went from like apparently this like funny like touching like brother story to like, you know, an alternate universe where dinosaurs survived and you have Dino Hand and stuff. Like it went totally off the rails.
Yeah, it was real weird. It's a real weird movie.
Yeah, well, it's because it was rewritten like 10 times, and not it was like it was rewritten as they were filming it. So there's like a quote from one of the actors that like, yeah, we just stopped reading the scripts. We would just show up and like whatever they had written down, like, we would just do that, and then like because like there was no point in reading it ahead of time because it would change by the time you got on set.
Right.
And that's where the quote comes from, which I heard before. John Leguizamo said, "The worse the movie, the better the party." So apparently by like halfway through shooting, they just got drunk every day. And I really want to rewatch it because Bob Hoskins or whatever his name is. I think it's Bob Hoskins.
Yeah,
right?
it's Bob Hopkins.
Yeah.
Hopkins.
I think it's yeah. So apparently for part of the movie he has like a cast on his hand that they like painted skin colored because they had to film an action scene that involved a car, like a driving scene. But John Leguizamo was like plastered by the time they filmed the scene.
Yeah.
So he like accidentally like slammed like a sliding door into like on Bob Hoskins' hand.
Really?
And he broke his hand and he has like a cast the rest of the thing.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
So that's why that movie sucked. And apparently the directors of the movie never got work again.
Yeah, I don't see how.
They said like 20 years later, like they still are trying to apply for movies, and they're like, "Oh, you guys, we worked on Super Mario Brothers." No, thank you. And the guy's like, It was 20 years ago."
So what? Yeah, it's one of those movies that like, if it was on TBS, like I would totally watch it.
Yeah.
But because it's you have to go out of your way to watch it.
Yeah.
You know, there's also a crazy video game movie, but I also like watching Street Fighter.
Never saw that.
It's with Kylie Minogue plays Cammy.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name? Jean-Claude Van Damme is.
It's awesome.
Oh,
they also tried to get Arnold Schwarzenegger for King Koopa, but they couldn't get him.
General Bison.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah. So he said he said he doesn't remember filming the movie at all because he only took he took the money.
Yeah.
He took the movie to make money and he got cooked up.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
That's good. But yeah, the other not to go video by video on this guy's channel.
That's fine.
The summary of the rest of them are basically early Nintendo was a monopoly and they were dicks about it.
Well, Nintendo started in like 1909 as
Yeah.
a
Well,
card game.
well, early. I think it started in the 1800s.
Yeah,
Well, early video game Nintendo. We're like dicks basically.
really?
Yeah, it had this huge monopoly. Like so the PlayStation started because I guess it was around the time of I guess it was after the Super Nintendo. Sony went to they weren't a hardware manufacturer at the time, and they went to Nintendo and said, hey, we have these laser discs. Like, why don't we get together and we'll make like a new console that uses like CDs and it'll be awesome. Nintendo was like, yeah, that's cool. And then at a trade show, Sony made the announcement like, oh, we're working with Nintendo. It's real exciting. And then Nintendo the next day was like, yeah, we're working with Philips. And like just fuck them over. Like,
It's crazy that the N64 still had cartridges. And
Yeah.
then the PlayStation came out with CDs. You're like, fuck yeah, CDs.
yeah.
Because the CDs can hold so much more information.
Well, the N64 would have had CDs if Nintendo weren't dicks. But not only that, so then Sony went to Sega and was like, hey guys, you want to work together? We'll make some CDs. And Sega was like, yeah, sure. And then they screwed them over too.
And the Dreamcast was a failure.
Yeah. Well, actually, so interesting story about that too. But then once everyone had screwed them over, the Sony was like, well, fuck it, we'll just play by ourselves. And then they made the PlayStation, and it was like the hottest selling console. So like the PlayStation wouldn't exist. It would just be Nintendo and Xbox right now. They'd have a way bigger market share if it weren't for them being dicks back then. The reason why the Dreamcast failed was because the Genesis failed before it.
The Sega Genesis?
Was it the Genesis or was it the Dreamcast that failed? Maybe it was the
The
Dreamcast.
Dreamcast failed because
Yeah.
the Genesis was huge.
No, no, you're right. It was the Dreamcast that failed, but the story behind that's awesome too. Because I'm filled with all these old Nintendo stories this week.
Well, you know what I mean? Didn't they make way too many of them or something?
What it was, so the Dreamcast was supposed to come out like around Christmas or whatever, and then I think it was they released it first in Japan, and then they told the American president, the American Sega president, whatever.
The American president, Bill Clinton.
Yeah, to basically to release it early because they were worried. They wanted to get a head start on the PlayStation. They knew the PlayStation was coming out, so they wanted to get a head start. But meanwhile, they had all this promotional stuff that it was coming out in September. It was coming out in September. It was like $9.99 or whatever was coming out. So they had all this promotional stuff. It's coming out in September. All these game developers were ready to release in September. All this stuff was planned. And then I guess it was like it must have been at E3 because it would have been like in the spring or early summer. Then the Sega president got up and was like, "Oh, we're releasing the Dreamcast today, and it's already in some stores." But it's only in some stores, so the smaller retailers are pissed off because they hadn't gotten their inventory shipments yet. There are only like 4 games out, so all the other game manufacturers were pissed off because their games weren't released for launch like they were going to do. So it's like this like one impulse decision like killed the console before it even got started.
Really?
But then the funnier thing is apparently they gave this whole long speech of all the technical aspects, all the great stuff it can do, and they showed off the games that were released. And the price of the Dreamcast was $399. So then the president of Sony got up to the microphone. He had a whole speech planned. He gets to the microphone and he goes, $299. And then he sat down. And that was his whole speech. And people went nuts.
Really?
And when the PlayStation came out, it in the first month it outsold the previous 4 months of Dreamcast and like kept going.
Really?
So I don't know. It was like the best burn ever at E3. You know? So
Yeah. Well, I remember the only 2 games I played on Dreamcast:
Yeah.
Crazy Taxi
yeah,
and Sonic Game. That's it.
yeah.
That's all I ever played.
Well, and then they came out with one other one after that, which apparently was like technologically awesome, but like nobody gave a shit by that point.
I remember the Dreamcast had internet access.
Yeah, one thing, it was like a really good system, but they so fucked up the marketing that they
Right.
just had no chance.
I wonder what the PlayStation was going to sell for if it was.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that was always their plan or if it was just like a last minute decision, like, oh, let's undercut them, let's screw them over.
$299.
Because because if you're a console manufacturer, I think the consoles are like a loss. Like I don't think they make a lot of money on the consoles. I mean, they might nowadays because they're so ridiculously expensive. But I think traditionally you don't make money on the consoles; you make money on the licensing deals.
Okay. Makes sense.
And that was the other one where like Nintendo were dicks and it came back to bite them. And I don't know if you remember. You might be like too young for this, but in
Like a couple years younger than you.
but in like regular Nintendo, there was the gray boxy cartridges.
Right.
And then do you remember the black tapered cartridges?
The black taper cartridge.
They were black cartridges, but they were kind of tapered. Okay, let me look one up. We can show people.
Because I used to play all the regular Nintendo, Super Nintendo with my brother. He had those, and then I got a Genesis. It was great. Shaq Fu.
Let's see. Let me find the kind of cartridges. These cartridges here. If you're gonna hold this up here.
Yeah.
This kind of cartridge.
Yeah.
So those are unlicensed Nintendo cartridges. Let me hold up for the folks. I don't know if you can even see it. Maybe you can see it. I don't know. Look up Tengen. But anywho, so apparently, and this is a bit of a longer story. So hopefully you guys are on board for the nostalgia game stuff. But so are you aware of the video game crash of 1983?
No.
So before Nintendo came out, there was all these consoles, like the early Atari, ColecoVision, and Television, like 10 other knockoffs. Like basically like I don't know if you ever seen it, like Bed Bath and Beyond, they have the like little like consoles that have like 20 games on them.
Yeah.
Like those, like it's basically all like those were video games. Like that's what was out. And then people started making such shit games just to cash in on it. And the two big ones were Atari released a Pac-Man game. So like Pac-Man was the biggest arcade game, so they wanted to port it onto their system, and apparently with like the head developer made it like a quick prototype just to like get the stuff in, but like it wasn't polished at all, and sent it to one of the executives. Like, okay, I got the prototype. We're gonna take a few weeks. We're gonna work on it. We're gonna make it look just like the arcade. And the executive was like, just fucking release it. Just release it today. So they released this shit like Pac-Man game. That like if you look it up, it looks terrible.
Really?
Like the sounds like clearly just filler sound. It's just like the guy making popping noises. It's not real sound. Like the graphics look terrible. Like it's like just like it looks just like pixel graphics. Like it really looks like if you were like learning how to develop a game, and like your first game you would make, like that's what it looked like. But the executive like didn't even care and like just released it. So people returned they lost a ton of money. So people returned all these cartridges that they bought because they were shit. And then the most famous one is E.T. Because E.T. was, I guess for the same reason that games based on movies suck today, because it was tried to be released in conjunction with the movie, so it was super rushed development. And there's a famous story that there's apparently a landfill of like a bunch of E.T. games.
Is that the one with the landfill?
Yes, exactly.
No, it's not. It's not. It's a real thing.
So apparently someone did a special digging up the landfill, and it's like kind of true. There are ET games buried there, but it was like all kinds of extra stock that they had from like one of their factories that they shut down. It wasn't just like a whole pile of ET games.
Oh, okay.
Like there were like old console parts and stuff there too. But yeah, between those two, people like lost such confidence in the video game industry. Like, oh, they're just turning out shit. Like, we're not buying it. So the market crashed, and like a bunch of the companies shut down for like about 2 years. So then when Nintendo came out, the way they combated that is the Nintendo seal of quality. So which is still in games today, and like the other manufacturers have like a similar thing. Like if you notice, like every Xbox or every PlayStation game has like the same little bar across the top of the package. And it was to combat or to bring confidence back in the video game industry. So, but essentially what it meant was that if you wanted to make a game for the Nintendo Entertainment System, you had to make the game, give it to Nintendo. Nintendo had to look at it, approve it. They can make any changes they wanted, and then you had to pay Nintendo to put it on their cartridges at like $10 to $15 a cartridge, to then put their seal on it to sell it. So essentially they had this monopoly, and they like ran every part of it, and like you had to pay Nintendo to make your games for the Nintendo. But apparently there was a few years into that, there was a thing where one of the chips was hard to make, and they ran out of, they couldn't produce enough basically to go with demand. So a subsidiary of Atari basically took them to court and said, well, let us make our own, like just and like we'll still pay you for them, just like let us make our own so we can get enough games out there to sell. And Nintendo said no. So Atari went to the patent office, and apparently you can't just go and like take someone's patent from the patent office, but they went to the patent office and said, hey, there's this lawsuit against Nintendo, so like, as part of the lawsuit, like you have to give us their like code for that chip, and then they tricked some patent officer to give them the code basically.
Yeah.
So then they like were able to make their own chips, like from stealing basically Nintendo's technology from like some random patent office guy.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, so it went on for but so that's what those black cartridges are. Because I had a couple when I was a kid. They're the only unlicensed, non-Nintendo approved Nintendo games that were made.
Really?
Because they basically did corporate espionage and like stole Nintendo's code to make the cartridges.
Sorry about the foot thing. I had like a sharp toenail in there. Yeah.
So that was a pretty cool story. But then again, it was another where all these lawsuits went back and forth, and they ended up, like Nintendo ended up losing some of their rights in the end. Like they won that battle, but like, the smaller companies gained some more rights because of Atari.
Atari still makes games.
Yeah.
Today.
So yeah, they come from that. Yeah, it's from the same company. So that's pretty interesting. I don't know. I also watched this hour-long video about the development of Tetris, but that's like a little too much to get into right here. I didn't realize it was an hour long when I watched it. I thought it was gonna be like a 20-minute video. And then like I'm watching it at home, getting a shower, and then it's like still going, and I'm like driving. I had to drive to the store, and it's like still going. And I had to drive to another store, and it's like still. And finally I looked, and I'm like, how the fuck long is this video? I'm like, it must be almost over. And it was like an hour long. I was like, oh, well, I'm already 30 minutes in now, so.
I didn't even know Tetris until like maybe a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
It had so many levels.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they just keep going faster and faster. Miss Pac-Man has like 200 levels.
Yeah. So, all right. So real quick, the interesting about Tetris. So it was made in Russia. You know how there's all the Russian imagery on it.
No.
So yeah, like the original Tetris, there was like the St. Peter's Basilica was like in the background. It was all the Russian music, is like the Tetris music.
Oh.
So it really was made in Russia, but it was made by a guy. It was in communist Russia, so you couldn't really make your own stuff anyway. And then it was a guy that worked for a government agency, so he sort of used government computers to make it. So the Russian government basically said that they owned it. Like they owned the rights to the most popular game in the world because this guy made it using their stuff. So it was basically this like 2 or 3 year battle of like international battle of like to try to get the rights for Tetris to like license like in different parts of the world. Like, it's a pretty interesting story. I don't know if it was like an hour of my life interesting, but like I'm kind of glad I watched it.
Yeah.
But the nice part of the story is the dude from Nintendo that convinced the Russian government to give Nintendo the rights to market the game. After the Soviet Union, when the Soviet Union was like about to fall, he helped extradite the creator of the game from Russia and moved him to Seattle. And then helped him buy some of the rights to his own game back. So he at least now, I mean, by this point, like 100 million copies have been sold that he missed out on. But for the last 20 years, he makes money off his own game at least.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So that's pretty cool. That's
Yeah.
a pretty cool part of the story.
So he's like still in America?
Yeah. He works for one of the big software companies now.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, it's cool, but like also kind of scary. I was talking to a guy, and there's people that have been retired who have worked their entire IT career.
Yeah.
And they've been retired for 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Entire career in IT.
Yeah.
Retired for 10 years.
Some of it's been around for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, they're real early. I mean, what was that Project ENIAC? When was that? Is that like the 50s?
Yeah.
Maybe?
But like the first microprocessor was in the 70s.
Yeah.
You know, they started writing code. There's a cool thing about like, I can't think of the book, but there's a cool book out there that tells like, some people like weren't actually good at stuff. They were just like, they were good at things, but they were also like at the right place at the right time. Like, you'll like this because you like hockey. Like hockey players, like me, for instance, I was born late. Like I was born after October 1st, so I was moved down in grade, so I was like one of the older people in my grade.
Yeah.
So like some of the greats in playing hockey and everything are people like me, where they would play hockey, but they were already like a year more developed than the people they were playing against. So they were faster and stronger. So like they would play more, and the coaches would see that, and then they would play them more, so they'd get more developed.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
And then like the second one is like Bill Gates and like his friends that started at Microsoft. They like in high school they had a computer programming class so that to learn how to write code and all that. So they had that, and then when they were in college, they had a lab that was open from 2 a.m. to like 6 a.m. so they can go in there and write code. Okay. So it was like they had that opportunity because they were in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
A lot of people like are like that.
So most of life is like, you know, we started Holy Casa and now we have 6 listeners. So I mean, we wouldn't have the 6 listeners.
Yeah, right place, right time.
Yeah.
It'd be better if it was 6 million, but whatever. Yeah. What do you do? What's a couple million?
I feel like it was when Kelly was returning those shoes at Nordstrom. I feel like that's when we really started talking about it.
Yeah.
So
well, I was thinking about it like weeks before that.
Yeah, that's what we really talked about.
Yeah, that's where I found out. That's where I found out you can buy a pair of Jimmy Choo shoes for $600.
Yeah, just $600. A couple people in work today were talking about
Jimmy Choo.
Yeah,
Holy Costa.
They were talking about like it was like some outfit from LuLaRoe that like Kelly always shops from, and everybody's like, oh, I wouldn't buy these 2 pieces of clothing for $130. I'm like, wait, what did you say? They're like, yeah, I wouldn't buy this for $130. I was like, I should probably date one of you guys because Kelly would absolutely buy that for $130. So, but
yeah, I want to buy these 5 pair of jeans, 3 t-shirts, 3 packs of underwear, and socks for $120. Yeah. Who do they think I am?
Yeah, I don't know. I was saying before the podcast, since I'm like a male chauvinist and don't fold, and Kelly folds all the stuff, and she's been a little behind on it. I found all these shirts that I haven't worn in years that were in the bottom of a drawer that I rarely look in. Yeah. So it's pretty exciting. It's been like a whole week of found shirts.
I've never seen that shirt. Like it looks like it's actually in pretty good shape.
Yeah, because I haven't worn it in years.
Yeah, it doesn't have holes on it or stains or anything. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
And it tucks under your boobs pretty well too. But
that's good.
Whatever. Yeah.
Like in a good way or a bad way?
You know, the way that like you probably shouldn't have man boobs. But
I don't know. I know. Well, we were talking about this before, like, because we're both still in the same condition where, like, when you have some muscle but then some fat, it's like, you know, it doesn't look quite right yet. I don't know.
Speaking of muscle, I was at I went to an escape room this weekend.
Okay.
So there's this part where you have to put these magnets on the right coordinates on a map, and it like opens up the yellow lock.
Yeah.
And so we got the first lock open. Then like you find the clue inside that drawer where it's like plot the course east of Asia or east of Europe. So like you have to find like the other. You turn like the radio or whatever on, and you know they give you more coordinates. You find them, and like the lady like on the clue on the board, she's like, yeah, it's on the east coast of it's on the coast of Australia, 4 coasts, so you can't like really find it.
Yeah.
So I told her, I was like, okay, we got this. We know if we put this in the right spot, that like because they have microphones in there. Well, if you put this in the right spot, like it should open. Like I'm just gonna rip the door open like this. Like it's like a little electric magnet, like maybe like 2 inches, like holding this like wooden door open. I was like, I'm gonna rip it open. And like so I moved it a little bit and like it popped open. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then like we won. We like escaped with like 6 minutes left or something like that. Because like we knew what to do and like we explained to it over the camera. Like we're like we think this shit's wonky. Like it's just wonky. And then we put all the cords in, and then we like you heard the doorbell thing go again. It's like you guys may have won, and she comes up and she's like, when you put the last one in, you're supposed to hear a recording, but it's like wonky. I was like, oh, we won, sweet.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, I seriously was gonna rip that door open. She's like, I see that. Yeah. Like I would have used all my strength to like rip it open.
Yeah.
So that was pretty fun. I've never done one of those before, but
that's cool.
I want to do another one soon. So.
Yeah, there's like a couple of the malls like around me have like I don't know if they are just escape rooms or what they are because they're like sort of like I guess they're supposed to be kind of mysterious. Like they're sort of there's one in the Chamonix Mall like near the entrance that's like it sounds like it might be an escape room. It's like but it's just this back door thing. And then there's this whole big thing at the Plymouth Meeting Mall across from Legoland. That's like this whole adventure thing. Like I don't really understand what it is. Which I guess like
You could just ask a question.
I guess, but yeah, I guess I probably will eventually. Or I'll like look it up. But I just feel like I don't know. I mean, I guess those places are supposed to be like a little mysterious,
Right.
but like I mean, how many people have time for mystery?
Lots of people.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Because like for me, like I'm there with Sam, so like I need to know like, is this interesting and can I do it with a 4-year-old now that he's
No.
just turned 4, and
Nope.
and like I can that's usually obvious to me for whatever it is. So that's the thing. I don't know if this is really an escape room thing. I think it's something slightly different. So like with anything, I need to know the answer to that.
Excuse me. What is this? Is this appropriate for a 4-year-old? No. Okay. That's all you have to ask.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, but some people, I feel like some people don't know how to answer that question.
Yeah.
Because like most people would say, I mean, I was like I've been going with the movies with Sam since he was like 2, maybe a little less than 2, and most people say that's inappropriate, and he likes to do it. You know, I don't know. Like I feel like people don't know how to answer that question.
Well, I mean, like you need, like for the escape rooms, you need a good amount of cognitive.
Yeah, he
ability.
wouldn't be able to do escape room. That's what I mean. I don't know that that's what this thing is.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, but that was fun. Like Sam was telling me in New York.
Other Sam.
Yeah. There's another Sam? Oh, other Sam. Yeah. Yeah, old Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was telling me that where his girlfriend lives up in Brooklyn or New York or something like that. There's an escape room. The building had they have 5 escape rooms, and it's like each one like is a different. They're all connected.
Yeah.
So you travel through time doing it. So you don't have to do them, but you can do whatever one. But it's like if you start the first one, like each room and you escape it, you get an artifact. He said, and if you get all 4 artifacts, you can do the 5th one for free.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's like you kind of finish the thing.
Yeah.
So it's like it's $30 a person.
Yeah.
So basically you spend $120, then you get to do one for free.
That's cool though.
Yeah, so it's like, but they're all connected. So I
Yeah.
think that's pretty cool.
Is it $30 per person per room?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That'll add up, especially with multiple people.
Yeah.
So that'd be for like a couple. That's like a $250 a night.
Yeah, but you don't have to do them all at once. Like you do it over time.
Oh, okay. So you
Yeah.
can save the artifact.
Yeah, you can save the artifact.
Oh,
You
okay.
don't- You don't do 4 hours of escape.
Oh,
in
okay.
one
That's
day,
what I'm
yeah.
confused about.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it's like if you want to do one, you know.
Can you do the 5th one without getting the artifacts?
No, because you can't. You need the artifacts to get through it.
Okay.
Like, those are clues.
It's
So
interesting.
yeah, but the one we did yesterday, only 33% of people like escaped the room.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the most difficult room they had there. It was pretty cool.
What about the easy room?
Yeah.
So like find the door. Okay.
So they had, and like one part they had like 3 president. You have to turn the president's heads to the year of their first inauguration,
Yeah.
and I knew like 3 of them off the top of my head. Yeah, and my friend's like, okay, that's weird, but all right, cool. Yeah, it's like the only one I didn't know was George Washington, because there's so many. It's 1781,
Okay.
but the actual war for independence doesn't end to 1783. You know, so.
Interesting.
But it starts 1776, so it's like real weird.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anything else?
I think it's about it for maybe this podcast.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to this week's Whole Week Costa.
Look over those whole week cost of minutes.
Yeah. Let me stop this.
Hey, you guys are still watching. Hey guys.
Yeah.
Hey.